Trigger warning, y'all. This episode might offend some of you.
Why is it spicy?
This episode might trigger some of y'all.
Too spice.
But we're just two people having an honest conversation about a really complex topic.
Spice.
And we're just being honest, being real about our true feelings, not meaning to offend anybody.
Spicy.
With regards to abortion,
Spicy.
we don't condone banning abortion for rape and incest or the health of the mother or anything of the rational exceptions of abortion. We're just two people having a chat. Get over it.
Well, I'm gonna chat. Fucking deal with it. All right. We'll just have a chat. Okay, cheerio. Fucking chill the fuck. Welcome back, everybody, to the Base Lesbian podcast. It's your co-host, Lee, and here I am with my beautiful, radiant, wonderful wife, Cara.
I'm the host. And today we've got a controversial episode coming your way.
Ooh.
It is a heated, hot button election ticket topic.
Ooh. Facts.
Abortion. Gasp.
We're talking about women's hoo-has. Everybody be prepared.
If you don't have a uterus, you have no opinion.
Get out of the conversation right now if you do not identify as female.
Oh my God.
That's how it seems like recently.
As you can tell, we're trying to make a very heavy, dark topic a little lighthearted, okay?
Let's just talk about it, y'all.
Let's just talk about it. I feel like everyone gets their panties in a tizzy every time anyone brings this topic up.
For real.
And that goes for both men and women, okay?
On both sides.
On both sides.
On both
Pro-life
sides.
and pro-choice. All of y'all are fucking crazy.
Are y'all too much?
You know where the real answer is to this problem? In the middle, like everything else.
Gray.
In the gray. But nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to
No.
just have a good conversation about it where we can try and find some middle ground.
Well, you know why? Because it's easier to either pick one side or the other and not actually rationally think about where you stand on a decision.
I can't tell you how many times I've been asked if I'm pro-life or pro-choice, just from the things that I've been posting on Instagram.
Dude, so gay.
Because I post both sides of it,
Yeah.
and people are,
I thought you were pro-choice. I thought you were pro-life.
oh my God, the answer's in the middle, y'all.
Like,
I'm
there's
trying to
really
just
much more to
find-
this.
I'm just trying to find a rational fucking thought.
Right.
A
I'm
rational path.
I'm trying to save the babies and also make the women realize that it's wonderful to give birth to babies.
And then we need babies.
That's it.
Y'all, do you know how many times I've tried to say the reason why this is important, this is an important issue, is because global sperm counts have decreased over 50%
Literally,
in the last 50 years?
Elon Musk just went on the Full Send podcast and he talked about global, catastrophe with global depopulation.
It's bad.
Because,
That's like the thing.
There's more miscarriages than ever now.
Yep.
From what I've seen, like, sperm count is at an all-time low. It's crazy. Like, Japan, like, they haven't met their, I don't know. Oh, my God. I would have to look into it, but.
It's really bad. Well, and some people are like, oh, but it's because they don't want to have kids. That's why. Or because of higher socioeconomic class, then they want
That's
less kids. I'm
stupid.
like, that's not what I'm talking about. This is not a stat of how many people are having kids. This is a stat of sperm counts, which is what we need to fertilize eggs to have babies.
Yeah, rad femmes. Men are needed at certain times.
Yeah, sorry. We need
One
our
of them
population
being
to continue.
The
But
future
then-
of the human race.
But then I get all of the nihilistic people that come in after that say, well, but our world is too overpopulated. We
Oh my
don't need
God.
humans.
Learn some
Fuck that.
Fucking learn some goddamn compassion. Where is
Dude.
that going to get you anywhere in life? You're going to die thinking, like, yeah, I fucking showed a middle finger to the world. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
figured
fuck
you out.
humanity.
What? You don't know what happens after that, man.
Fuck humanity. We've been killing the planet. Look, okay, I get
over
that.
yourself.
Listen, I understand.
The
I
world
understand.
can
We need to
withstand more.
stop fucking throwing trash in our oceans. We need to stop polluting the earth and
Facts.
the fucking air and the water. We need to
Facts.
stop doing this stuff. We need to stop it. However, humanity still should survive if you want progress. If you are on the same side of progress and solutions to problems.
Don't we need to find a solution to that?
Hello?
Don't
Don't we need
human
people?
beings need to work towards that? Isn't that part of the stepping stone of life?
Like, it's not good to wish the society to be damned. Like, it's not good. I don't like that.
God. You really just said it.
It's, like, we can sit there and talk about the end of days, right? We just talked about it on the Fourth Turning episode.
Yes.
We just talked about it.
How we all
So,
feel it.
I
Yeah.
understand, like, there's a line of, like, okay, this might be a possibility in our future that society is fucked.
Children of Men status, guys.
If y'all haven't watched that movie, I keep telling y'all to watch it. Watch that freaking movie, Children of Men. It's a phenomenal movie. But anyway, there's a fine line between talking about a potential collapse, because we are headed towards that way,
Yes.
and like
That's what it
straight
is.
up romanticizing it and wishing that upon
No.
the world. I'm not about that nihilistic bullshit. Okay? All I'm trying to say is that life is sacred. Life is sacred.
That's it.
We should protect it.
That's what we're opening this whole episode up to, is the foreground of life is sacred
Yeah.
and should be cherished and preserved.
And no, we're not religious.
We do not subscribe to any organized religion. I'm not down for that. I'm not down for Pope Francis in his red ruby shoes telling me what the fuck is a sin or not.
Or the
I'm-
rise of Sharia law and Islam.
Oh.
And yeah, so we're not organized religious
No.
people.
We're
We
just-
are spiritual, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I think we believe in humanity and believe in the
we're just good
oneness of the
people. I feel like
universe.
we're good people.
So, I mean, I'm sorry. Sue me for thinking that life is sacred. Like,
Yikes.
if
Yeah.
you're going to say,
How dare you?
if you're going to hold other species to a high standard of like beauty and awe, and we need to protect it, like we need to protect these endangered animals, we need to protect the rainforests, like why can you not have that same mentality with humans?
Yeah.
And it's because we hate each
Problem.
other.
Yeah.
We fucking are
We've
so
been taught to
angry
hate
at each other.
Yeah.
Like, hello, the whole Trump and Hillary election and then the Trump and
Others
Biden election was
just
insane.
othering each other.
We are the most divided we have ever been.
Yep.
So of course this abortion topic is going to be the worst it's ever been.
Yep.
And then Roe v. Wade gets overturned and people freak the fuck out. Don't read the actual legal text. Don't understand that
what it actually
SCOTUS
means.
SCOTUS has no legislative power at all. They can't
This is
make
l-
laws.
It's
They
literally
can't determine laws.
just SCOTUS being like, this was never supposed to be in the hands of Congress. This was never supposed to be in the hands of the Supreme Court. This should only have been a matter handled by the states. Therefore, we're giving it back to the states. And now suddenly it becomes, you're taking women's rights away. I'm sorry, we're two women in a marriage that has been going on for 6 years. Have you felt that your rights have been taken away
No.
at all? And especially because apparently men don't have a say in this at all. So I
No,
guess
of
you and
course they
me
don't.
being in a two women relationship, we should have the most say over everyone, right? Yeah, no, this isn't we live in Texas.
yeah, we do.
This
y'all.
hasn't fucking affected us whatsoever.
However, I don't necessarily agree with the Texas bill. And this is
Which one specifically? What are you talking about?
the abortion bill.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it because I don't agree with suing women for getting
Mm.
an abortion. I don't agree with criminalizing it.
either.
And I think a 6-week ban is a little strict in terms of time
Like
frame.
after 6 weeks, no abortions.
Yeah, because you
Agree.
could miss your period for a month, but
yeah.
not make the connection that you were
course.
pregnant, because it could be a bunch of different things.
Could be irregular.
My mom didn't know she was pregnant with me until she was almost 3 months along.
Right.
Like, had no idea. Had
Yeah.
gotten her period regularly every month.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't agree with that.
Mm.
However, I agree that states can make their own laws. If you don't like that state's
Absolutely.
abortion law, then leave.
Move. Well, but people don't have enough money to just move.
Okay,
Life's
I don't,
unfair, guys.
listen,
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say
There's
because
50 states in the United States,
what do you
guys.
what do you want? Like, what are you fighting for? Are you fighting for abortion, or are you fighting for equity, like in equal of opportunity? Like, I don't understand what you're fighting for, because
Well, especially when what is it, like 40% and over, like over 40% of women just get an abortion because of it's inconvenient.
yeah,
Like, what is your stance on that? Like, how can you just say it's okay for a woman to be inconvenienced by the burden, quote unquote, burden of life?
I think that's
fucked up.
well, I think most rational people would think that that's fucked up, because
Yeah.
I think most rational people
Yeah.
in this debate don't support abortion on demand, or like as
Abortion
a
up to
form
9
of birth
months.
control,
Right.
or late term abortion. So I
Right.
don't think most rational people support that. But what you're hearing is just the two most extreme sides. You're hearing the fucking far righty pro-lifer people that blame women for everything and don't take men's accounts for it at all. Don't hold them accountable for anything. Barely want any exceptions for rape and incest. You have those far right people, right?
Right.
And then you have the far fucking left people that are like, women should get an abortion all the way up to 9 months, however long they want, for whatever reason they want, if they don't want to take care of it or whatever.
Right.
And it should be
No.
legalized in every single state
No.
and forced upon people so that they pay their tax dollars for this service even though they don't believe in it. Like, no.
In the same way, I want to tell right wingers, shut the hell up. Like, if it's 8 weeks along and we don't hear a heartbeat and she is fucking going through school, like, let her fucking do her thing. I want to tell that to the right wingers in the same way I want to tell left wingers, what the fuck do you mean if it's still inside her body, it can be aborted, like up to 9 months. It's like that. There was like a East Coast state or something like that. I couldn't remember what it was, but
New Jersey.
Yeah, they were putting forth. It was nothing that was passed, thank God. But they were putting forth the idea of, quote unquote, aborting a child after it was born, if consent was given by the mother and the physician.
It would literally have
Never passed.
legalized. It would have legalized infanticide up to like a month after birth.
They tried calling it abortion.
Yeah, they tried. Yeah, and they called it healthcare because abortion's healthcare.
Like, you got me fucked up, right? You got me fucked up.
That's really fucking crazy. I
That's
don't
a
understand
baby.
that. You can be pro-choice and understand and acknowledge the biological implications of abortion. Like, you are killing a living thing, and there should be a limit if it's going to exist. Now, like, this is where pro-lifers need to understand. We've had abortion for thousands of years. Abortion's always existed in various forms. And then with this Roe v. Wade stuff, we've had that for the last 50 years. Society's not just going to go overnight, submit, and let it be completely 100% banned across the board.
Right.
We're not at that point. That's utopian ideal. However, Republicans need to understand banning shit doesn't do shit.
No. And I also want to say, when you say utopian ideal, we just simply mean the fact of, like, a utopia where women and men just don't feel the need for abortion, and we just give birth to all babies.
And where, like, people are equal but have the opportunity to succeed and, like, have a lot of money. And that's the utopia that I think everyone dreams of.
And
of
it's
like
the same,
a free, perfect society where we don't have to rely on authority and all this bullshit. That's what people want.
Well, it's the same utopia.
It's not attainable.
It's the same utopia that people want, where there's a world without guns.
Yeah.
I want that. I am 100%
without the need for guns.
Yes. I would love a world where you do not need guns, where people are not violent, where people are not human.
Well, not tyrannical and oppressing people. Like, that's the whole point of the 2A.
Right. I just wanted to clarify on that in case people were like, utopia, but a woman making her own choices, that's a utopia. That's what I think is a utopia.
I want women to just have more options than abortion or birth control. And I mean, technically they do. They have options of adoption. They have options of taking care of the kid.
But abortion, it's such a fucked up system right now. Why? I would never want to put my child in adoption. I would never want to put my child in adoption.
Okay, but, like, how does that justify you aborting a kid?
Like, where do we draw the line of, like, what life is okay to end and what life is not. Like, that's the problem. And that's where a lot of pro-lifers have an issue with this topic, that the left and the pro-choice people can't seem to answer, because usually their answers are something to the effect of like, the life is meaningless.
Or it's based on whatever the woman wants.
Right. And it's like, well, that's not an answer for the meaning of life. And women have this innate ability to carry life and to grow life. And that should be sacred. That should be something that's really celebrated. And I feel like we're not celebrating it with this push of like, well, if I can't get an abortion on demand whenever I want, then I am oppressed.
Then I'm
going to
go on a sex strike.
Please do.
Okay.
Don't reproduce.
That's the problem. And listen, we're not talking about, I feel like people are going to get so mad about this
I don't
episode.
care. Who cares? This is the hard truth. This is the hard. I feel like a lot of women feel this way. A lot of women deep down feel like I really would not. I wouldn't get an abortion for myself, but I would allow another woman to do so. Why? Why?
Right. I don't get it.
Listen,
man.
and it's not like I don't have the power to allow you to do so. Whatever. This is just my thoughts. I think any rational human being on this planet could look at you and be like, in a utopia, we wouldn't need guns, we wouldn't need drugs, we wouldn't need abortions, we
Right.
wouldn't need faith, we wouldn't need religion. All of these things in a perfect utopia we wouldn't need, because we would understand them ourselves.
Right.
We would understand the innate meaning towards giving life, gestation of life in my womb. Like,
Right.
that has meaning. There's meaning in not putting violence on another person, ergo not needing guns. Like, there's
Right.
meaning in that. So I think everyone can recognize, like, well, I don't fucking feel like, it's the same argument, honestly, with guns. I don't feel like guns are necessary. I don't feel like guns are,
I mean,
but they are. For right now, they are. In the same way I understand right now abortions are necessary. I
Yep.
get it.
and that's the thing is like, and we also understand with rape and incest victims,
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
they
The
are always the
exception,
exception to this
100%.
rule. Obviously,
Yes.
abortion should always be legalized for those situations.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
But where do we draw a line on the other abortions?
Well, we can't just women, ladies. Can we just talk to the ladies real quick? You guys can't immediately fight with the rape and incest card.
as the justification for
When over 40% of abortions are just women surveying that it's inconvenient to them, you can't say that it's just, well, what about rape and incest? Obviously, I'm fine with that. I'm saying if you just want a fucking abortion because it's inconvenient for you and you got your legs open too many times, sorry, it's happened in my family. I get to say it.
yeah.
Fucking, maybe you need to take some life lessons. Maybe you need to introspect on yourself. I'm sorry.
Well, and like, why can't we talk about like making Plan B pills like super cheap and available everywhere? Like, because I feel like most people are not against that
at all.
Because if you are, you're just mainly on like the religious side of things.
Right.
However, I feel like Plan B is fine, and that should be accessible. And I feel like after a sexual encounter, you should have the wherewithal to be like, okay, I can take Plan B.
100%.
And then now the argument comes, well, but people aren't educated and we need sex ed to teach people these things because people don't know that you can get pregnant from sex, or like people don't know you can take Plan B during sex, after sex. It's
That's
like
dumb. I was raised in a Catholic private school, guys, and like I knew what the fuck I was
you
doing.
had no sex ed.
No, I had no sex ed actually until I was, I think, 14. It was like literally my 8th grade, and they were like, "Well, I guess we got to show this to you." And then they took us to a museum, just a body museum, and they were like, "This is what testicles look like." It wasn't even anything legit. Like, it was just like, "Here's human anatomy." They didn't even teach us anything about sex. Like, they were just like, "Here's the sexual organs," and we learned about it. Like, we all know deep down, almost like it's a human, innate, biological thing to understand what our hoo-has are supposed to do and what those fucking produce.
Well, and that's a problem too, is that like that job of the sex ed talk has always been done by parents, or should always have been done by parents.
Oh, no cap.
And now it's being pushed into schools, and I have a problem with that, because that's why you have all of this sexual orientation bullshit, this
Yes.
gender-bred people, all of this crap in schools right now is there because we've allowed sex education to be there.
Just sex into the classroom.
yeah.
Just sex. It doesn't matter if it's education. I don't feel like that should be taught by a teacher. Like
No.
that's why we're going to homeschool our kids.
100%.
Part of the reason. Second reason is because I don't want fucking propaganda hanging in their classroom. I don't need a gay rainbow flag hanging in my kid's classroom, even if I'm gay.
Well, and I don't need Mrs. Smith talking to my 8-year-old kid about how sex works either. I don't need that. I went to 11 schools, okay, and I had sex education at like every single one, pretty much.
Every single fucking one.
Literally, the earliest that they started was 4th grade for me. And then I moved to a school where the earliest they did was 5th grade. So then I had it
So
in
you got
5th
it
grade again.
again.
And then 6th grade, I went to a school where they did sex ed again. Had it in...
Were there any indiscrepancies? Like, did
Yeah, they were all different. All of them were different. And then I skipped a year, didn't have sex ed until 8th grade, then had it again in junior year of high school.
What?
Yeah.
You had it in high school?
Yeah. I don't know why. But in high school, that was when they brought in a STD teacher or something. And she told us all about STDs.
Stop.
Taught us how to use condoms
Stop.
and diaphragms and all this stuff. And then had everybody ask anonymous questions about sex. And a lot of it was just like porn related things from boys. And
That's disgusting. The only time I was
But-
ever cool with that was shit with like DARE, with like drugs, where people would come into a school setting and they were like, don't use drugs. Peer pressure is a thing. True.
yeah.
That was the only thing that I was cool with. Looking back on it now, like if we put our kids in school, I'd be like, DARE would be cool. Like, teach them that drugs are bad.
To keep them out of trouble. But
Just
I guess
drugs.
I
Yeah.
just feel like that shouldn't be the responsibility of the
It
state,
shouldn't be,
though.
right? Yeah.
That's the
It
problem.
shouldn't.
Because these are schools that are run by state and federal governments.
But then you come to the uncomfortable subject, which is most people, I feel like nowadays, don't want to be parents.
That's the thing.
They want to put their kids off to an 8.5-hour thing. Or like not even they want to, they have to, just because of a job that they're working.
Right.
Like the culture that we're in right now, it's not cohesive to like a family
A
setting.
family, yeah, because everyone has to work.
everyone,
And
including
that's
the
the
kid.
problem. Yeah.
8.5 hours a day. A kid would have
Yeah.
to go 7 to 3.
Go to school, right. That's the problem.
crazy.
It's a problem in society that we've taught people that you have to be working constantly and disregard your family unit. And this sounds very conservative, but it's true. They have destroyed the nuclear family.
There's power in a family unit,
Yeah.
guys. You don't need to disagree with that. There is power in a family unit.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying.
Statistically, kids do better when they have two parents in the home. And specifically, they do better when there is a man and a woman parent
course,
in the
yes.
home. But like, granted, we can get in a debate about gay parenting at another time. All that is
We
to
will
say is
eventually,
that
yeah.
we
We've
have
got
a
ideas.
society that is fucking doesn't want kids, hates kids, and then also devalues life in the womb,
Yeah.
which never made sense to me.
I would also like to bring that back to our fourth turning episode. I think it also started with the Gen Xers because there was something I saw that said that between year X and year X, and it just happened to be a Gen Xer like generation, there was never a sentence in media that praised children.
Right.
Like never.
Like no advertisements.
For like a decade
nothing.
or more, there was no advertising, merchandise, anything praising children. That's a big fucking deal.
They were demonizing children,
Demon-
actually, and talking
yes.
about how they were bad and
Saw
deviant.
that generation as saw the children of that generation as just bad
Bad.
rebels, hated their parents.
So what does that do to those kids that grow up? They become
Exactly.
fucked up. And then they raise fucked up kids.
Or they don't want kids themselves.
Or they don't want kids themselves.
Yeah.
But then their fucked up kids that they raise even more fucked up kids. Or they turn it around and raise good kids. It just kind of depends.
How many times have we heard from Gen Xers, especially parents, who have been like, Yeah, well, I wonder what I could have done if I didn't have a kid right now.
Yeah.
Or
Literally
just like, I just had a kid because I fucking got knocked up.
Yeah.
That's literally both of us.
Yeah. I know. Actually, though.
We both got knocked up.
We did? No, our moms did.
We were knocked up babies. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but your parents were married.
After my mom got knocked up.
Still.
My mom was like, "Oh, I'm preggo. I gotta marry this Catholic
My
boy."
parents didn't get married. I was a bastard. I was a bastard.
Jon Snow.
But
bastard.
according to the pro-abortionist, far-left crazy people, they would rather me be aborted.
Because you would have had
Because-
a terrible life.
Well, because my life was hard. I grew up very poor.
Therefore, you don't deserve a life.
I grew up so poor, y'all. White trash. I grew up in a trailer on my grandparents' property. Okay? Property. My mom was broke working at fucking Safeway just to feed me.
My mother lived on the Big Island in Hawaii and didn't have electricity or running water or literally anything. And they lived. They were fine after a couple tries.
Like, that's what you guys are saying when you say, oh, well, abortion needs to exist for poor and impoverished and people of color. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
why? Because, well, they would grow up in a really hard life.
So,
Don't
you think the people who have succeeded the most among us have been in the worst environments?
struggle is a part of life.
Struggle is honestly a determinant of success in life as far as I see it.
You need to have struggle to live. Like that. I'm sorry, but you
succeed,
can't.
yes.
You can't just imagine a world where there's no struggle. Again, that's a utopian ideal. At least for right now, where we
Absolutely.
are human beings on this plane, here to experience what it means to be human,
Yeah.
which is struggle and grief and love and happiness and strife.
Yes.
It's
everything
all
difficult.
of those things that make us human.
Yep.
But when you say things
Including
like,
9 months out of 1 year where you may be pregnant.
well, when you say things like, oh, abortion needs to exist for poor and people of color. No. Why? You are literally saying that poor people and people of color should be aborted. Because their lives would be hard.
Because
if they
they'll
were
have a
born.
harder time. Okay.
So you don't want to make any effort to make their lives easier then? So if we keep
Right.
birthing these people, so you don't want to make any effort to make it so people aren't poor?
We can't look at like the foster system. We can't look at like the adoption system. We can't look at like therapy for pregnant women. Like this was also one of the biggest fights that we ever had
Abortion.
early on in our relationship.
We disagreed so hard on
Relationship
this one
before we were
because
married.
I used to be a pro-choice
Nazi.
crazy person. But I mean, I was a social justice warrior, so I was just parroting things that I was brainwashed to believe in, and I wasn't really
We all
thinking about those beliefs.
Yeah.
I just went with them because everyone believed it.
I did too. It was just in myself that I was steadfast.
Yeah, because you had posed the hypothetical:
I
if
lit-
you were
yeah.
if we were raped, would you keep the rape baby?
Yeah.
And I said no.
You were like, fuck no.
I was like, absolutely no.
And I said, yeah.
And I was like, how dare you?
And just so you
I'm so
guys are
triggered.
aware, if there was to be a butch or a femme one, I would be the butch one.
Yeah.
I was like, I would totally take that rape baby. And I would give birth to it.
And I could not understand that at that time. We got in such an argument.
What was you were angry. What was your anger behind that?
I think there was some kind of weird jealousy or something, like if you had another man's baby and it wasn't my baby or something. It was something weird. And it didn't make any sense, but then I masked it under like, oh, but you were raped, so why would you keep the baby? Because he's an evil man.
'Cause
that
there's a
raped you.
baby growing inside me that is a third party. It
And I
is
was
not-
like, well,
yeah.
but it's conceived from rape, so it's conceived from this violent, awful act.
That took what? How long out of this baby's how many years of life that I can give it?
Yeah.
None of that mattered to me.
And I
To
could
me,
not
none
understand
of,
that.
none of it mattered to me. It was just I feel like it may have been my religious background or my spiritual background coming into play that just gave me those very hard pressed morals of no, I'm gonna give birth no matter
Yeah.
if it kills me. Really, I would give birth. So I never really got out of that. I was
Well-
pro-choice, though. I was pro-choice.
You were, but you were personally pro-life. You would have
Yeah.
kept a baby no matter what.
And then I realized, oh, wait, it's not bad to be pro-life for, like, every woman.
Yeah. See, now I'm definitely on that side because I feel like it's not the baby's fault.
No.
And I mean, but I also can understand why rape victims would get an abortion.
Absolutely.
I 100% understand that. And I feel like for rape and incest, women should have that option.
of course.
100%.
I've never been a victim of that. I cannot speak from experience. Neither one of us can.
No.
I would never wish to put myself in the shoes of someone who is a victim to that. And I would never want to tell you what to do.
No. And we
with
would never
the
want
trauma.
to judge you for that
No.
choice you make or at all.
No.
What we're trying to say is that we disagreed because I thought that baby in this hypothetical situation didn't deserve to live, and Lee did.
Yeah.
That was what was different. And I
Yeah.
think that's at the crux, the root of this whole abortion debate, because both sides right now are arguing moral arguments. So the pro-choice are arguing for the moral authority of the woman, and pro-life are arguing for the moral authority of the baby.
Yes.
Now,
If you guys also are hearing weird stuff in the background,
It's our puppy.
our dog is
She
dreaming.
is fast asleep. Just if
She's
you hear
laughing.
shit.
She's sleeping.
that's so true, though. Yeah. It's about, it's my body. It's my body, my choice. But
And see, what I'm trying to say, what my opinion is that I think the woman and the baby matter. I think
yeah.
both matter equally.
yes.
I don't put one over the other. I think they both matter. I think they're
Frankly,
both so
yeah.
important.
I think it would be wrong of a woman to put yourself over the baby after a certain point.
Well,
I think you're
because
both equal.
at that point, like, you are giving birth to a future,
Yes.
like to the
a
future. That's the
Thank
thing.
you.
And that's not even like a
years.
spirit. That's not
Yes.
even like a spiritual thing. It's like it's,
No,
the future. You are
yeah.
getting older.
Yeah.
You are going to pass on sooner than the baby.
You're
So I
giving
think
birth
it's
to a future.
important that we acknowledge that, and that we acknowledge the importance of babies and children, especially in a time where we're going into mass infertility, global infertility.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't watched Children of Men, you really need to, because that literally is what a world would be like if we were all infertile. That's the whole premise of that movie.
Just one woman is pregnant, and it's the first woman who's been pregnant in
18 years.
years.
18 years. There were no babies born.
No more babies.
None around the whole globe. But then one lady gets pregnant. So it's like, y'all,
Human
There
life is to be cherished.
yes.
It's to be cherished. The development of life is to be cherished. It's a clump of cells. It's only this. It's only that. It's not a full baby. We all understand what it's going to become, though, right? In
Well,
9 months.
And we all were that. We
Well,
were all that clump
right,
of cells. So you're
right.
just saying, like, it doesn't
I
make
wish
any
my
sense
mother
to me.
aborted me.
I wish my mother aborted me. Okay, like what is that helping anyone?
That doesn't help anything at all. At all.
What does that just say? You hate your life? Cool.
Okay. Does that mean that other people should hate their lives equally and they
Or
should
abort
kill their
kids?
babies because they don't want to cherish it and love it? Like, what are you trying to fight for? And like, this is also not to say that women shouldn't have access to contraceptives, because I know that's another facet of this abortion debate. Is like, well, but if you restrict Planned Parenthood and restrict abortions, and you're going to restrict birth control and contraceptives and STD testing and sex ed, it's like, no, that's not what anyone's
Put
talking
that
about.
shit in a 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
I'm not
put
saying
that
that.
shit. Yeah, put
the
a
fuck?
fucking 25-cent
In a Walgreens.
in a Walgreens,
motherfucker.
so you can get whatever you want
I'm
from
not
it.
saying any of that. We are enlightened enough and far enough along in our evolution to realize I can not want a kid if I don't want to.
Right.
During this process of having a kid. But once the process is already in motion, once you're pregnant, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
We should but we're aware enough to realize, like,
Well, and
I
like,
should fucking be allowed to have a plan B.
and well, we should also talk about solutions for women too, like discreet adoptions, where like you don't have to worry about it. Like, it's
Worry about
scrubbed
what?
off your record, where like people can't find out that like if you were, let's just say a hypothetical, if you were a woman who got pregnant but didn't want like family or something to know, and you wanted to give your baby up for adoption, you just don't see your family for a while.
I
You
feel
go-
like that's an outlier too.
Well, I know. I'm just saying there should be an option that adoption can be discreet. I don't know. Maybe it will. I'm just saying women should have options, and like birth should be cheaper, prenatal care should be cheaper and more accessible. Like there should
I think
be
women
shelters
do have
for women.
options. I think women do have options. I think we should destigmatize the options,
Yeah,
which
that's another
involve
point.
actually carrying the baby.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have therapy for women who are going through pregnancy, who might be
Right.
traumatized by it.
Postpartum's real.
1000% it's fucking real. I think for the exception of the people who are victims of rape and incest, I think they should fucking have therapy, and I think they should have programs for that.
Yeah.
And I think you should make care before the birth fucking so dirt cheap, it's not even like you can't even question it.
Yeah.
So dirt cheap. Like
it's not a bad thing to be pregnant. Like I don't understand.
that's just
And
what
I
we
mean-
want to bring back. Yeah.
And we should also like have research into better forms of birth control for women that aren't poison pills or a copper wire to be
Right.
put in your cervix. Like
Poison pills mean
we
birth
acknowledge
control.
that. Yeah, we acknowledge that, and men should have other options too besides just a condom,
Or a
which isn't fun
vasectomy.
for them either. But like
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just trying to find some kind of common ground. I know Lee and I don't agree on everything with this whole topic. And I think most people don't agree with everyone on it. I think there's way too much nuance. I think it's a really complicated topic.
But even then, I think all of us can come to a general understanding of past X amount of date, you are uncomfortable with abortion.
Right. There's a limit.
That's just what it is. And the only problem is that people argue on what the limit is.
Yeah.
But after a certain point, we're all uncomfortable with sucking out a
I
baby
feel
through your uterus. I'm sorry.
My sister had an abortion like that. It was really bad.
And it was traumatizing for her.
Hella
It was
traumatizing.
like, we also don't talk about that. How it's like, oh, I've gotten 5 abortions and I'm fucking fine. No, you're fucking not.
No, you're not. You're a ticking time bomb, dude. Abortion, I feel like, is so traumatic, and we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about how women are affected by
all.
that forever. Do you know how many women have gotten abortions and then became pro-life? Y'all don't want to hear from them.
Just like detransitioners.
Exactly.
Sorry. Guys, it's the same exact
It's
thing.
the same thing.
It's the same fucking thing. These people who have been through the abortions and they realize how traumatizing it is, and they realize, oh my God, what a gift life is, and how could I give this up, and what are all these other options that I could have done?
It's like in China, you know, when they had their one-child policy, there were women in China that made a living off of giving women abortions because you could only have one child. And there's a documentary about this on HBO,
It's
I think.
harrowing.
And there's one lady that talks about how she's given like hundreds of abortions. And
9-month-old.
She says they are her biggest regret in her life. And she's like, I'm going to be paying for this for a long time.
Because you see the kids. You see the kids.
Like, I'm
and-
sorry, you can't deny that.
No, some of them are alive.
And Rebecca Kiesling is a pro-life advocate who was conceived out of rape. She was conceived out of a violent rape. This was back in the 60s. And her mom, they didn't have abortion back then.
Right.
And her mom, like, at the time, gave her up for adoption. So then when Rebecca Kiesling got old enough and found her, she was like in her 20s, and she's like, you know, would you have kept me and raised me as your own?
The
And
mom
she was
said
like, no.
Yeah.
And the mom was like, I would have aborted you if I got the chance. But then, like 10 years later, the mom came back to her and apologized for even saying that, because she had a change of heart and was like, I never would, because now I see all of these beautiful things you're doing in your life. You have a beautiful family. You have a beautiful husband. You are doing so many great things.
Yes.
And now I regret even saying that to you and even thinking that I should have aborted you.
The potential of a good life is very powerful.
That's powerful. So you can't ignore that. But then, like, everyone's
Or
like,
discredit.
well, the whole argument then just goes back to, but it's
Well,
a
but
woman's
she had
choice.
the choice. She had the choice to give it.
But then why can't men have a say in that too? Like, why can't the men that...
The baby wouldn't be there if it wasn't for a dude's fucking jizz.
True.
Sorry. Oh my god! Like, this is a lesbian having to tell you
And
guys
again,
this.
I feel like I have to reiterate this for people who are trying to take this out of context. This is not referencing people who have been raped or in incest.
No.
This is referencing people who have consensual sex and then decide to get an abortion because they don't want to deal with the consequences of that consensual sex. I have a problem with that.
I have a big problem with it, and I have a big problem for the females who do it too, who
Yeah.
just leave the men completely out of it. And it
Women
might be a
have the
man who
power.
genuinely wants a fucking kid.
Women, you have the power. Abortion
You
is not
do.
empowering. Abortion is not power.
No.
Women have the power to not sleep with men. And again, we're not talking about rape victims. We're not talking about incest victims. We're just saying, you don't have to go sleep with that fucking dude who's been in jail 4 fucking times and has got 2 DUIs and can't fucking pay his bills.
You don't even need to sleep with this one night stand.
Yeah, sorry.
You don't need to sleep with this. You don't need to open your legs to this one night stand.
Sorry for those of y'all that, I'm just
Well,
saying.
he took off the condom. He took it.
But she should
Yo,
have the choice.
How many people have had a kid by abstinence?
0.
Uh-oh.
But then again, I'm just also playing devil's advocate. I was conceived when my mom was taking
3.
2 forms of birth control. So she was on the pill and had the diaphragm. And then my biological father wore a condom. And I was conceived from that way. So
You were meant to be here, baby.
I was meant to be bitches.
and
But
she also made the right fucking choice on keeping you.
yeah, but she also didn't know she was pregnant with me until like right at the cutoff. Because that was back when abortion was limited. So I'm just saying. Just playing devil's advocate.
And I'm going to be the person of the mind who says, if your mother had the right mindset, that wouldn't have ever been a question in her mind to begin with.
But she did because she decided
She
to
did.
keep me.
You're right. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. She had the right mindset.
Yeah. Even though our life was really hard. And she was broke and single. Because my biological dad was not in the picture.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
living on a trailer on my grandparents' property.
Up in the PNW, living in shit town.
White trash. We lived right next
White
to a meth head
Trashville.
that, he blew up his trailer making meth. So, like, I'm serious. I'm not making this up. This is my
White
life.
people ghettos are another thing.
Yeah.
They're meth filled and crack filled.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have, really. But
That's what keeps y'all jittery.
I feel like the general consensus is abortion should be limited,
Yes.
but it should be accessible. But I don't think it should be this federal thing that people have to pay taxes for. Because I feel like it's not fair to make people pay taxes
No.
for something they don't believe in. I think it needs to be privately funded.
No. I do
Privately
not want-
funded things
no,
they do better.
They do.
Just letting y'all know.
Yeah, because you can sue them directly.
Yeah.
That helps. But no, that's just not cool. And also, 400,000 abortions in 1 year, just that we know of, I feel like is not reasonable.
What do you mean?
That's what Planned Parenthood had basically come to the conclusion of for the year of 2021, I think it was. They said that they had done 380 something thousand abortions that year. Just that we know of, because I didn't know if you guys are aware, but they're not obligated to report anything factually. They can just volunteer information of however much info they want.
Well, that's for the CDC, because the CDC has their own annual abortion surveillance report, and they say that states and areas voluntarily report data to the CDC.
That's right.
So it's for that. So
That's
Planned
right.
Parenthood, I don't know what their laws are for that, but CDC,
Just even from Planned Parenthood, just from their website, go up and look up their shit on the website.
their statistics,
It's almost 400,000 abortions that were performed.
but
in
like 1,900 adoption referrals. So it's like,
only like 2,000 adoptions.
so why are we pushing women towards abortion so much when it's traumatic? It can scar your uterus. It can make you infertile. It has all
Scar
of
you
these
for life.
really really bad consequences. And also, we harvest fetal tissue and fetal organs. The Virginia governor came out in 2019 or something like that. Yeah. And he was admitting to how we use fetal parts and we can abort fetuses and then resuscitate them afterwards if the moms want that. So they were talking about late term abortion and then fetal organ harvesting.
Sorry, guys. Doesn't this sound like the guys who would have been head honchos at Bohemian Grove?
They are. They are.
These are the shadow government people, right?
Are y'all really denying that there's not some weird fucking culty shit in our
black
government?
harvesty shit going on with this.
What are
fucking
they
plan.
doing
Really?
with fetal organs? Yeah, okay, we use them in vaccines. Yeah, okay, we use it in stem cells. Okay, but what are they doing with the rest of it? Come on. Truly.
Can we just be
Can we just be honest?
real? Our government came up with MK Ultra.
That was in the 60s. What else? What have we come up with
What are
since
we
then?
doing right now?
Well, the COVID stuff. And 9/11. That's what we've done.
It's just two things.
Two things on a huge list of shit that
On
they've
an
been doing.
unknown level.
The point is that it's disingenuous to say that abortion is this really great thing that's empowering for women all the time
It's
and
not.
really beneficial for society,
No.
and we should legalize it full blast, and abortion anywhere, anytime, on demand. Only women have a say in it, and that's that, and it's good.
False.
That's false. We shouldn't be saying it's great.
Yep.
We shouldn't be saying it's anything but what it is, which is
A last resort.
a last resort, should be limited, with the exceptions of rape and incest being always included as that.
Should be regulated.
But it should be regulated, and it should be privately funded so people who don't believe in
It's a
it
big
don't have to
deal.
pay their taxes
This
for
shit's
it.
a big deal. Can we just can we all admit that this shit's a big deal?
Yeah.
Killing off your future kid is a big deal. I'm sorry. I've never personally been in that situation.
Yeah, I
But
don't.
I can tell you, if I was, I would have the kid.
Well, yeah. I
I've
would
known
too.
that from 11 years old.
Yeah. I would too. Even if I wasn't ready for it. It's like,
because I feel like that makes you stronger as a woman, though, too.
yeah.
To carry this child, to give life, to birth life.
It's
I
one of the
don't know.
most beautiful things women can do is
It
give birth.
is. Even in this awful fucking situation, in the exceptions that could be rape or incest, it's like
That's
got-
still life.
got
Women
this-
have that power.
yeah, you've got this beautiful child that's coming out of this awful process, though.
The divine feminine,
Couldn't
giving
that be
birth to-
cathartic?
Yeah.
Right. The divine yes.
And again, it's not the baby's fault. It's not the baby's
No,
fault that the
never
mom's
is.
poor. It's not the baby's fault that it'll be black. It's not the baby's fault that it was conceived in rape. It's not the baby's fault. That's the problem. And it's not the woman's fault either.
No.
It's not.
No. But
It only is if you are having consensual sex with someone you're not ready to have a kid with.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem. That's another issue. It's like, why are you doing that if you aren't prepared to have a kid with that person?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Again, for the 40% of people who just do it for convenience sake, get your priorities straight.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure this episode's triggered some of you.
That's why we'll keep it relatively short.
And I hope you guys see the sentiment of where we're coming from. We're just two people that believe that life is sacred. I feel like there's a middle ground with this abortion shit that we're
just
not
talking.
reaching.
No, we're just talking. Like,
We're
if
not
you guys
getting
got thoughts
mad.
on it, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. If you hate me, it's fine.
Yes, Phil. Go on to someone else. Next. Thank you. Next.
But also, we can also have a civil conversation,
Yes.
even if we disagree.
Yep.
And you can still follow me even if you disagree.
Duh. That meme town. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Dropping them hot memes. Oh,
Wow, I'm so great. I'm a meme lord. Anyway, just be sure to follow us on all the socials at @based_lesbian, and then Twitter @based_lesbian_. We have 73 followers on there now.
woohoo! We are
moving up.
in the.
We're
thinking
becoming
world.
Twitter famous. But again, Sorry, we did not mean for this to trigger anybody. We're just having a conversation. We're just
Also-
two people that have complex thoughts about this really crazy topic.
No, baby. If people are getting triggered, maybe that's your filter. And maybe you need to look into why you're being triggered by
that's
two
true.
lesbians on the internet that you're willingly listening to for about 51 minutes now.
And with that, we love you long time, and we hope you check in next time.